Good Friday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano. Let's take a quick look at what's making the latest headlines. Governor Charlie Baker said so far 140,773 tests have been conducted in Massachusetts. He also said 200,000 respirator masks are being sent to first responders in every community in our state. We're in the surge right now. The governor's saying things won't move ahead economically until we see a decline in the number of cases. But before we continue our coronavirus coverage, we are going to switch gears a bit to the latest now from the First Warning Weather Center. Some late winter-like conditions are expected into the night. For more on that, here's meteorologist Jacob Wycoff. So Jacob, this storm is still holding together.
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, it's almost a rare event what we're going to be seeing tonight and into tomorrow. We're not immune to seeing some April snow, but that typically falls towards the beginning of the month, and it's usually an inch or two. But to see some of the totals that are coming out potentially in some of the higher elevations, this is an exceedingly sort of rare event. We do have a winter storm warning out for west of the Connecticut River Valley through Franklin, Hampshire, and Hampden County. This is where we would expect to see some of the highest accumulation totals when all is said and done. Our futurecast showing initially some raindrops falling, but pretty quickly everyone changing over to some snow. And with the snow falling as heavy as it will, we could actually be talking about a little thunder snow into the overnight too, sticking around by 7 a.m. and then winding down as we go into the later morning, leaving us with some isolated showers into Saturday afternoon and evening before we start to see drier and warmer conditions building in for Sunday. Already starting to see at least some moisture showing up on our radar, but this is not reaching the ground. That's going to take a little while, Chris. How much snow are we expecting with this system? We'll look at that in just a few minutes. Back to you.
That is the question, Jacob. Thank you. Governor Charlie Baker focused on more testing and contact tracing to isolate COVID-19 cases and eventually getting our state back open for business. Identifying positive coronavirus patients and then tracking back to find all the other people who may have been exposed is critical in all this. And Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo has more on both state and local efforts to trace these cases.
Massachusetts is the first in the country to roll out a statewide contact tracing framework. Springfield health officials say they've been doing their own contact tracing for the last few weeks, and they say they have yet to reach out to the state health department on joining forces.
At this point, we have not reached out to date.
Helen Carlton-Harris says several school and Bay State nurses have been working on contact tracing for Springfield's positive COVID-19 cases. The city's Health and Human Services Commissioner says it's possible they could reach out to the state to join their efforts with partners in health. But for now, she explains the sheer numbers of people who need to be contacted by her small team in the city alone.
We put up numbers of 668 today, and so all of those individuals need to be contacted, and then we need to follow up with whomever they give us as individuals that they have been in contact with. So that obviously is hundreds.
And they don't just have to get names, but contact information too of people possibly exposed.
It is difficult because it means that we have to track down individuals, get telephone numbers.
Governor Charlie Baker announcing the state's contact testing program has hired more than 100 workers, and more are needed still.
Part of the reason we're building up this tracing program, this contact tracing program, which I believe is going to be critical to our ability to identify and contain COVID on a go-forward basis, one of the elements that makes this work is an enhanced capacity to test.
Helen Carlton-Harris agreed that contact testing is needed to reopen the state, along with expanded testing. She says even weeks into this pandemic,
we do not have sufficient test kits at this point to test everyone who needs to be tested.
The governor saying today there needs to be a significant decrease in both COVID-19 related deaths and hospitalizations before they can even think about reopening the state. At this point, both of those numbers continue to rise. Now, if you're interested in being a contact tracer, there's more information on mass.gov. In Springfield, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
The Department of Public Health reporting 34,402 total cases of COVID-19. That's up 2,221 from yesterday. To date, 1,404 people have died from COVID-19. 159 new deaths reported by the state today, and so far, 148,774 tests have been conducted. Now, breaking those numbers down for you county by county, here in Western Mass, Hampden County is reporting 2,134 cases. Hampshire County has 258, Franklin 173, and Berkshire County has 383. In total, Western Mass has 2,948 cases of COVID-19. Today, Governor Baker announcing all police and firefighters in the state will get N95 masks. That's something Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno has been requesting now for weeks. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis is live for us outside the Springfield Police Station with more. Leon?
Chris, soon when firefighters and police officers respond to calls, they'll have more protection against the coronavirus.
The MEMA officials, the state officials, I'm not asking anymore. I'm demanding those N95 masks and those KN95 masks.
Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno making an emotional plea to state officials just last week for all police officers and firefighters in Springfield to get N95 masks. On Friday, the mayor got some good news.
It indicated to me, Governor, that they wanted to make sure they had enough for frontline hospital workers, which I understood. And he said as soon as they have enough, they'll get them out to police and fire.
And Sarno tells Western Mass News he will continue to fight for all the resources he possibly can.
I will continue to go after anything and everything for the city of Springfield. And this is good because it doesn't cost me anything.
With the N95 mask now on the way for both firefighters and police officers, Mayor Sarno says the city still needs thermal infrared thermometers. Live in Springfield, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Leon, thank you for that live report. The state's military order of the Purple Heart is pushing for a new half-staff flag order to last indefinitely to honor all the veterans who lost their lives at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home. Western Mass News reporter Lindsay Kane is live for us in Springfield now with more on this story. Lindsay.
At one point, Governor Baker issued all flags in the state to be at half-staff to honor the veterans who died at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home. But since then, those flags have been raised back up, and some say they want them lowered again to honor those veterans.
This really is a punch in the gut for all veterans.
56 veteran residents have died at the Holyoke Soldiers' Home. Of those, 47 testing positive for COVID-19.
That's a shocking amount. We feel a sense of helplessness.
Brian Willett, state commander of Military Order of the Purple Heart, tells Western Mass News over the phone that his department is requesting Governor Charlie Baker to issue a new half-staff flag order, effective immediately and to remain indefinitely.
It'll provide a visual reminder to all those who see every flag lowered at half-staff that our veterans are dying in a mass casualty event at the Soldiers' Home, and until their service deserves to be honored.
Governor Baker had temporarily lowered flags across the state back when the first investigation began into what happened at the Soldiers' Home. Since then, Willett says some mayors in Western Mass have elected to keep flags at half-mast, like in Holyoke and West Springfield, but other flags across the state were raised back up, and he wants them to be lowered.
This is the one way we have to honor our veterans. We can't perform military honors at this time. We can't attend wakes or funerals. To not be able to perform these honors has been, it's been crushing.
He says lowering flags statewide is just a small way to honor the veterans who have died at the Soldiers' Home without any family present.
Our veterans are dying daily, and we want their lives and their service recognized by a half flag.
His request has been sent to the governor's office. Meanwhile, the superintendent of the Holyoke Soldiers' Home remains suspended during the 3 ongoing investigations. Live in Springfield, Lindsay Kane, Western Mass News.
Lindsay, thank you for that live report. New at 6, student research at MIT predicted the case count of the coronavirus would plateau between April 15th and 20th after reaching about 600,000 cases. Results from the research show that now's the time to continue following quarantine measures, and that if the measures were to be relaxed, it could lead to a rapid increase in cases again. And for more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it continues to develop, Just log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app. Now, still to come on this Friday, many families now having tough conversations around end-of-life planning amidst the coronavirus pandemic. One local doctor is providing information on how to best navigate those conversations next. And still ahead, the Small Business Relief Fund is out of money. And Western Mass News is getting answers from a financial expert on what business owners can expect going forward. Jacob?
And we're starting to see some of that snow moving into the area through the Berkshires, some light raindrops falling elsewhere, not reaching the ground just yet. That will change later into the evening. We go just how much snow we're expecting with this storm in my first warning forecast as Western Mass News continues in just a few minutes.